Hello, good day. I know it's been a while, and I understand that you might be expecting my video on the therapeutic use of balls, and I know it's taking so long, but I apologize. We will get to it. Today, I just want to briefly just talk about two concepts that I've been thinking about for a while, and it's analysis paralysis versus extinct by instinct. Analysis paralysis versus extinct by instinct. What does analysis paralysis means? It's just simply means paralysis by analysis. It means that this is a process where an individual or a group of people or a team can be said to have engaged in overthinking or overanalysis of a situation, such that they then get paralyzed, to make a concrete decision or solution in the time that it was supposed to be made. And by paralysis, we're not referring to physical paralysis, which just means that there is a sense of inability to arrive at a concrete solution to things. Now, this can happen in all spheres of life. If you talk to bankers or investors or people in the economic space, these are things that they have to go through all the time in trying to make board decisions, and sometimes they're unable to arrive at a solution in a timely manner because of analysis paralysis. But on the opposite end of this is what you call extinct by instinct, and this means um, the process of making a fatal decision because you have made a hasty judgment or gone with your gut reaction. So on one hand, with analysis paralysis, you overthought things, you overanalyzed things, and you couldn't reach an answer in a timely manner. But at the other end of the pole, you were too quick to reach a solution, and then in the end, you realized that that was a fatal decision to have made because you didn't commit to enough analysis. That really can be confusing. The real question is, how do I know where to be? How do I know that I'm engaging in the right amounts of thinking or analysis? But before we even talk about what my opinion is of this, I wanted to say that this is something that is also applicable to us as therapists or teachers. All professionals are working with people with needs. For instance, the concept of analysis paralysis can be seen in the situation where people are trying to transfer theory into practice. Excuse me. So, of course, we've read a number of um, topics and books, gone for several seminars, gone for different trainings, and then it's time for you to then put it into practice, and then you realize that you have this amount of shock. Then you're thinking, how do I bring all of these concepts together to actually get engaged in the task at hand? That could be a problem with analysis paralysis. Um, so you're beginning to overanalyze or overthink that situation, and then of course, because of that, you're unable to provide the appropriate solution in a timely manner. This really can happen because there can be the concept of an overload of options. Okay, so for us as professionals, we can have a number of options. So this is a particular skill you're trying to teach a particular child, but then you realize that you've been told that there are several methods, several strategies to use in achieving this particular goal, and then you're confused. How am I going to decide on the right options? How am I going to decide to break down this option into steps? And then you realize that the real problem then is analysis paralysis. You're beginning to overthink, you're beginning to overanalyze. But you also don't want to just jump into a solution without you thinking about the parameters that define that solution. Because in the end, what would happen is you will make a fatal decision. Now, one thing I know is people say the job that we do is not a life or death situation. So it means you can relax a little bit, but not so really, because it's still a matter of life. The work we do determines the trajectory of the life of that person you're working with. So it's important, really, also not just to go into extinct by instinct, just trying to make sure based on your gut reaction. So, so I guess the real task is, how do I know how to go about this? Let me make one simple confession. I'm not sure I have all the answers, and that's why I think that this is an open discourse for people to share. Of course, based on their own experiences, how do you think you can navigate this? How can you decide the right amount of time, the right amount of thinking and analysis to come into a process before you make a solution. But then, even though I've said that I don't think I have all the answers, I still think I should share a few things with us. And the first thing I think I would say is that um, you have to base your work on evidence. Your practice has to be evidence based. You have to read a number of researches. You have to commit to increasing knowledge and study to know what are the processes, the strategies that they say work, and then begin to apply this. So you don't have to um, just because something sounds right does not mean you should go into extinct by instinct and just rush into it. You have to try to study whether there can be some level of research that say that these things work. Okay, so that's one. The other thing I think you can do is, of course, to rely on your senior colleagues and professionals. I mean, these people have been here before. You've probably been in this particular situation as well, like you. So I mean, it's okay to ask them questions. Okay, which means that that can help you to. I mean, some things you're thinking about could be things they've thought about before, and they can share with you some of the ways that they were able to go about it. So yes, you can rely on your senior colleagues and professionals as well. And lastly, I think that what's important is that you also have to try to get your own data for self-reflection. Think about the work that you've done so far. Think about some of the critical decisions that you've made in the past, and think about how long it took you to make some of these decisions vis-a-vis which of these decisions can you say were successful, which ones can you say were not so successful, and then you can begin to see a pattern in your own work life as to how well you commit to thinking, you commit to analysis for the work that you do. um, Finally, I would say this again. This is just something that's been in my head for a while, and I want us, I mean, everyone, to be able to share their own opinion of things. What do you think is the best way to go about? Let me not say the best way. What are the ways you think um, you can make the right decisions as to the work that you do? How do you come about making the right decisions for the work that we do? Okay. Thank you. Bye for now.